There's a mist in the meadow calling us to come outside and sing a song. There are rainbows around Venus, silently singing along. Joined by hummingbirds, drumming verses into the dawn. We keep coming to the altar until we are faded and gone. Caught in a spider's web, eaten alive again, struggling through this holy resistance, and given the strength we need for our healing. Oh, give us the strength we need to be free. Yeah, the strength that we need. The same mist, the same metals cause each of us to sing, even when it's a chore to do what we came here for. Out in the big cities we live, where the distant roar of a free way soars into the spider's web, eaten alive again, struggling through this holy resistance, and given the strength we need for our healing. Oh, give us the strength we need to be free. Yes, give us the strength we need to be free. Oh, give us the strength we need to be free. That the mist in the meadows calls us to sing our song. There are rainbows round Venus, silently singing along. Joined by hummingbirds, drumming verses into the dawn. We keep coming to the altar until we are faded and gone. One with the spider's web, eaten alive again, dancing through this holy resistance, given the strength we need for our healing. Oh, give us the strength we need to be free. Yeah, give us the strength we need to be free. Give us the strength we need to be free.
Thank you so much, brother. Beautiful. That's James O'Keefe, y'all. And I'm Gemini Brett. Welcome to a celebration of strength, an invitation to strength, a celebration for this synod, this meeting of moon and sun here in the year of 2021 in the tropical sign of Leo on August 7th. So we'll spend some time with this chart today, and this is a moon song transmission. So James and I have recently, with many cohorts, begun celebrating the lunations through song and art, and we're very excited for this to become a regular monthly community gathering with artistic, creative celebration and contribution. And so please stay tuned to hear more about that. You might be receiving this link to this video because you are on my mailing list at geminibrett.com. You can sign up there if you'd like to receive news of when we will be gathering live and having community discussions and sharings. And eventually we're seeing this leading to kind of, I don't know, collaborations and artistic creation, maybe prizes for monthly designs and other sorts of things. And Leo is a really wonderful time for us to contemplate our creativity and our creation and allow ourselves to be that vessel for creation to create through us. So speaking of, in the beginning was the sound. If you've been at these moon song gatherings, you know I've been doing less of astrological transmission and more of just a storytelling and letting the sacred stories of old convey what the chart, I feel, has to say. But today I think I will speak a little bit about the astrology that we're looking at here. This is what's called a sunrise chart of this Leo new moon. And some places in the earth, the moon and sun will be rising together like this. During this moment, this meeting, this synod, August 7th, 2021, moon and sun meeting for new moon in the sign of Leo, planting a seed for the month to come. Often we'll show Leo as the fifth sign and what's called the natural zodiac. There's many ways to pet the cosmic cat, and there's some astronomical truth behind this idea that Aries is Earth's first sign and therefore Leo the fifth. But we can speak just about this energy through houses, and I'll take us to the fifth real quick, starting not at the first, but of course at the 12th, because the end is the beginning of the end of the beginning again, you know. In the 12th, we are spirit. We are not yet here. We are the one. We physically are in the waters of our mother's womb just before this birthing. That comfortable place where we've been riding for many moons is now becoming quite linear, and the contractions are here, and it's a madness, you know, as we are preparing to energetically ride away from the other place to this one. And that really happens at the ascendant of the chart, and we are born out of the one into one thee, right? And the question is, who am I, and what is my mountain to climb? What is my mission? And it's about individuation, in that sense, independence. But fortunately, we are reminded in this great ancient 12-step program that independence does not mean isolation, aloneness. It means insulation. We learn who we are in our own skin, and that prepares us to engage with others in the world, with merging in relationship and community, without losing ourselves. And Leo really has a lot to say about this. But before we get there, before we get to the fifth, we must move from the first through the second, third, and the fourth. And the second really is a place where we realize this vessel into which we have incarnated needs fuel, needs food. And it's a very tricky thing, of course, here in this world, to incarnate into a vessel that cannot feed itself, that needs help to be fed, to be changed, to be held. And may we always remember that having needs is in no way needy, that this is part of what it is to be a human being. So in that second place, we come back to love, at least just in the truth that we can't do it alone. And in the third place, we learn not only to acknowledge the needs that we have, but learn the tools required for us to communicate them to those who can assist. And this is really, in so many regards, about self. It's within. So if we can acknowledge that we do have needs, that the journey is in a body that requires fuel, we honor that fuel as part of our truth and learn how to speak in the other's tongue so that they can understand and help us on our journey, then we can come into the fourth place, which is a place of shelter and safety and rest. And it has many interesting conditions, like learning the rules of the family or the culture, whoever it is that is offering that safe place to rest, dream. In that dream, we can remind ourselves through astrological trine, the triangle to the 12th, the place where we remember the dream that we are the one, that we are divine, and we wake up from that place now fully elemental in fire, earth, air, and water, and reborn into divine self. So the first, it's really about individuating, just to kind of be born into this world where in some strange way we've forgotten what we truly are, to learn what we truly are. In the fifth place, there's more knowledge of that. There's more understanding that we can do whatever we want. Now, of course, there's a lot of hangups there, right? There's a genuine opportunity for extreme narcissism and arrogance. There's also oftentimes these hangups of what we think we want is actually what we were told we should want, that, you can do anything you want as long as you do what mommy wants you to do because mommy knows what's best for your survival in this weird world, that kind of trip. There's something about learning for us to be the fire maker, and oftentimes obviously can't happen the first time around this wheel of life, that we have to learn about tending fire, about hearing the fire before we can learn to create our own and to step into the truth that the fire that blazes, this fire of spirit, this fire of will, is the one element we can share without giving ours away. So this is my prayer for myself and for anyone who chooses to receive the invitation for this month, is to come into our sacred sovereignty, our empowerment, our own divine creative self, to understand, well, in the stories from many lands, we are typically created in the image of creator, which I sure feel means we are creators ourselves, and that this is not only a right, it's our responsibility, it's our charge. So Prometheus, it said, stole the fire from the heavens to give to his creation, us, so that we would be creators after molding us in the image of the gods themselves. That, of course, is one of many places you can go to hear this idea of how we were formed and of what. So I invite you to create this month, and to create and to play as if your very survival depends on it. And truthfully, that might be so. We obviously are here in about the weirdest time that we could ever imagine. And we can see, I believe, at least it's hard for me not to see only the very potential disaster that awaits for us ahead. And if we future trip and try to solve the problems at hand, sometimes it just brings the flood of fear. Whereas if we can learn to be creative, playful, young, in the moment now, count our blessings for what we have, give our gratitude, and share the love and share the wealth in any moment, and to spread joy and to share that type of fire rather than the premonitions of fire and brimstone, we will probably be creating a world of love rather than a world of fear. And this really seems to me to be the great challenge in my life right now. And perhaps you're experiencing something similar. So I'll share some of the things I see in this chart. And I think I'm going to do this, by honoring the lion that is awake and the lion that rests. These are lions from the Corcoran Gallery in Washington, D.C. And the lion on the left is facing south, where the where the midday sun is found, and the lion on the right is facing north, or maybe just on the northern side where the sun only aligns in this hemisphere in the middle of the night. And I like this idea of when are we the lion that is charged to be awake, and when are we the lion that is allowed to rest and dream, because it is in that place where we remember these wondrous things that we can truly do. It's much easier to manifest and shift in the world of the dream, and bringing that magic here into the world of waking, and realizing that here in this place of the fixed, changes don't happen quite as quickly, but that they will happen, that we plant seeds, that we stay devout and devoted to tending these seeds of our creations, and they will happen. And in the words of the great teacher Prince, it can take years to become an overnight success. May this month offer you the fire and the energy and the spark to find that success for what has been years in the making. A Leo new moon, square to the planet Uranus, opposite Saturn. Sun opposes Saturn every 378 days, and that happens just a week before this new moon aligns. And about a week and a bit more after this new moon, the sun will oppose Jupiter, which happens every 399 days. These are times when these gas giant gurus rise at sunset and just dominate the night sky. They are retrograde because Earth is passing them by in our mutual orbits. And this means that Earth at this time is closest to Saturn, closest to Jupiter. I hope you'll get outside at night and observe the beautiful evening star Venus in the west smiling back at you in that rainbow halo that James sung about at the beginning of our gathering here. And stay out and then look towards the south and the southeast and find the very bright Jupiter staring back at you. And just to Jupiter's right if you're in the northern hemisphere, or left if you're in the southern hemisphere, for all of us towards the west, you will find Saturn, much more stern. And Saturn in Aquarius, a sign that Saturn is said to make a home in the traditional approach to this craft, where the sun is said to be at home in Leo. So this is a very strong opposition. Now that word is an interesting one because it feels like things are opposed and this is like a war, but it doesn't have to be that way at all. In fact, I will suggest that the old word for the signs opposite one another, the signs of an axis, the signs of a pole, the old word, which was diameter, has more resonance. Just as hot and cold are two sides of one thing called temperature, Leo and Aquarius are two sides of one thing. But what is it called? An answer there might be love, that Aquarius is the love for all and Leo is the love for self. And this does not mean selfishness or narcissism or, the kind of ego that goes out of control and forgets the world. There is, of course, the ego divine, remembering that that responsibility as a creative being here in this world, to understand that as we balance this axis, that we can never create good medicine without others in mind, and that also we cannot create good medicine without honoring ourselves. So there's this image of sovereignty on our way to finding equality here. And this is a time this year where we're really going to be feeling it. That's why I wanted to speak today rather than letting an old story speak for me. Because one of the great alignments of this year is this Saturn-Uranus square. And there have been two perfect squares already and one's yet to come. But when other planets come into that alignment, as Sun recently has, and now Moon and this new moon, which basically have it energized for the month, it really gives us an opportunity to look at this square aspect, this aspect of tension that speaks to, if you will, a revolution of embodiment in response to what I feel is, too many rules that are put on us, and the way that our demand to consider others, in a sense, can get manipulated. I'm looking at Venus opposite Neptune and see a lot there, but I want to share this in a symbolic way, and some symbols that I wrote last week as I sent some production notes to my friend Erik Deutsch, who creates soul songs together with me, where I will translate an astrology chart into musical harmony and symbol. And Erik then sits at his grand piano and creates amazing music. Now, typically we do this for natal charts. This is one of the ways that I really love to help people tune into their astrology, less in the mind and more in the body. But we've started to do this for new moons, and this is the third. We started with the Gemini eclipse a couple months ago, and then the Cancer new moon last month, which itself was answered by the first of 2 Aquarius full moons this year, and now this Leo new moon. So the notes you see here, they're pulled from the chart in this musical map that we use, where Cancer equals C, and then if you speak music, we climb chromatically, and that makes Leo the C sharp, Virgo the D, Aquarius the G. And actually, those are the only 3 signs that at this new moon time hold visible planets. So for the other characters that you see in this chart, like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, planets that we can never see, or the lunar nodes, Chiron as well, Black Moon, Lilith on the chart, they are also contributing notes, but you'll find them in the second line and not in bold. So Erik, in his creation of these soul songs, is kind of first inspired by limitation. He's only allowed to play certain notes. And then he'll see something like this, and I guess I'll read this out loud to remember what I had written, which is that once again, revolution is in the air. Last month, the constriction came from over-concerned family and village. Now we're feeling the crown versus the people in the key of C sharp. This is about equality, but equality found through sovereignty. The righteous king remembers he in service, first and foremost, to the land itself. Through reconnection to the voice of the earth, we remember that creativity and play are the way to divine change. And I think a really important thing at this time is to find equality through Leo, which is equality Aquarius through empowerment. So rather than becoming more and more small to be equal to others, to become as big as you can be and inspire that largeness in everyone else, that we will manifest a world of equality from being, of our highest honor, of our highest fire. So there were some aspects in the chart that kind of most spoke to me. And I kind of approach astrology charts a little bit differently when I'm doing them for this soul song work, which is a relief for me. I'm looking for aspect shapes and seeing how they sound in our music map and how they convey to musical harmony. So you'll see that in bold, like this G, A sharp, C sharp, diminished tension to A, C sharp, G, dominant release, for example, right? Those are notes for Erik. And then he gets a symbol like this. A crowd of people are brought to tears by the first live concert they've seen in a year. And Erik's a great touring musician. He, as a musician, has been away from being able to play these big concerts. And so that, I'm sure, will speak to him from the other side of the piano, if you will. For those of you who speak astrology, this is where I'm getting that from. Oops, I've got to go back, sorry. Moon, Sun, Saturn, Uranus, T-square to Moon, Sun, Chiron, trine. And so the idea is that this Leo, Aquarius, Taurus T-square is a lot of tension. Musically, we translate that to what's called a diminished triad, and it sounds challenging, and you'll hear that in Erik's song, which we will listen to next. But there at the same time is this Leo, Moon, Sun trine, Chiron and Aries, which speaks about some healing, I'll say, of the self, to fortify this energy of stepping into our divine right of being creative beings, to resist the commandments of those who believe they know what's better for you than perhaps what really is. And that's where this revolution is seated. And, I wrote this last month, but it still works. The kids must dance. Leo really demands that we be in our divine play. So Venus, Lilith, Neptune, Pluto, kite. A most amazing dream of elves dancing on the mossy forest floor inspires an artist to wake up and paint. The Mars square nodes to the nodes wedge with Saturn, a young concert pianist inspired by an old master through the alleyway window of a jazz club downtown commits to playing the music she wants to play, no matter what her parents and teachers say. There was a whole image. I didn't have enough space to write this, but it was like this young girl who's like, you know, kind of ruler on the hand when her hands aren't flat enough, playing the piano with proper technique and not being allowed to improvise or play her own songs, like is a freak for jazz, but she has to hide that away. So at night when she knows there's a great master in town, she sneaks out of her bedroom window and finds her way to the back alley of a club that she's too young to find entrance to, and just hears the music of this master inspiring her to break away from these rules that are not her own so that she can create the masterpieces she came here to create. If that speaks to you, let it please speak through you. Mercury, Sun, and Uranus parallels. A college girl gets that tattoo she always wanted, right? So we get to hear just this idea of rebellion, and especially kind of artistic expression through our rebellious ways of honoring ourselves. The most inspirational rock anthem ever is what I wrote for the Mercury, Neptune, Pluto yod. As I've been sitting with this chart in my own space and sitting in my own meditation and just listening, especially outside at night with Saturn recently, I started hearing Bob Marley singing about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel in the lion's den. And I really was feeling that in this chart. I'll go back once again. I mentioned that Venus and Neptune are involved in this really strong kite shape that's here. So Venus in a grand Earth trine with Uranus and Pluto. But, you know, the kind of the strongest energy here, and it's one of the strongest aspects in this chart, is this Venus in Virgo opposite Neptune. Now, Venus is said to be in fall in Virgo, but she's very much rising at this time. Thank you very much. If you go out day after day and watch the sunset, you're going to see Venus just shining bright and getting brighter, actually. That's not true for Mars. Mars is just disappearing from the sky. But Venus is really high, really bright, very strong in the sunset west. And she's opposite Neptune now. And I think this really speaks in many regards to belief and to faith. And what is the difference in between? And so I've just been inspired by the story of Daniel in the lion's den. And, you know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were Daniel's friends, who, like Daniel, had chosen not to receive the programming of a place that they were taken to when they were taken away from their land. Right. And so many of their peers were led into the ways of a new place. And for Daniel and the other three, they chose to stay true to their spirituality, what they knew for them to be true. And this, though it seemed would bring them into great adversity and perhaps death, did not. Again and again and again, these stories like this, and that they stayed true to their faith. And the greatest kind of initiations of that and expressions of their heavenly support were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, and they never got burned, right? That they made it through the flames, and that Daniel, much later on, was thrown into the lion's den in a very similar story, simply because he chose to pray. And in that lion's den, he stayed devout. And I think that this is really important. I think that in this Leo Aquarius opposition, and in this Virgo Pisces opposition, and I know the story already, I'll be telling at our gathering next month, which we do hope to do live with many of you there. this is really clear to me that it's about learning confidence in self, learning like devotion to believing in ourselves, but finding that through allowing ourselves to believe in something bigger, to believe in something unseen. Now, for some, that will be, science. For some, that will be God. For some, that will be goddess. For some, that will be the gods and goddesses. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in any way. But I will say that it feels to me that this time that we're in now is a very important test of faith. And it's good for us to consider what it is on the other side that will see us through. So this is the coming Aquarius full moon, last degree of Aquarius, which means that this month, at least according to the modern astrological approach, moon will not really be void for long at all, the full moon anyway. She'll oppose the Leo sun and quickly dive into the sign of Pisces. I'm not going to speak so much about this chart, though I will say that I love to see Venus in Libra, Mercury in Virgo, Sun in Leo, Saturn are all places where they're set to make homes in the astrological approach. But most importantly, I wanted to say that there's something again about finding devotion to something on the other side, to also allowing that devotion to help us believe in ourselves, no matter what the cost. And that in this Aquarian side, there is something about this beautiful truth that everyone has rights, like divinely ordered. So it's interesting, and just kind of tuning into the Daniel story, right? Daniel in the lion's den, and that whole book of Daniel from the Bible, which is not a place that I spend much time, but this last couple days it has been, specifically in that book. To think about Cyrus the Great, who's figures into that story. And Cyrus the Great, who was said to be, he's a conqueror, no doubt about it, but said to be one who allowed these places that he took over to maintain their old ways, their ancient ways, their practices and prayer and whatnot. Whether that's true or not, I can't really say, but I was interested to find my way to this object with the Cyrus cylinder, which many say was kind of like, the oldest known Bill of Rights, and this idea that all people, whether royal or not, have divine rights. And so it's something I wanted to share and encourage you maybe either to look into or just see, what we feel in this time of so much division and so much separation and so much energy being fed to pitting us against each other. It feels like to really consider, what you truly believe in regards to I guess the right word is love. All right, James, I think I'll play Erik's song now and maybe just take us through some of these beautiful images as I do. So like this painting by Peter Paul Rubens of Daniel in the Lion's Den. We're going to see some paintings and other collage and images from a dear friend, Kathleen Schmieder, who's going to be kind of our I guess artistic director slash curator once this monthly community thing is truly up and running. So more about that as we move along. It's probably not going to be next month. I think the Virgo new moon next month are going to give us some energy to put some of the pieces in place and cross the T's and dot the I's. But maybe it will be the Libra new moon that follows, where there will be a new site for community space and gatherings and sharing. And I will say this, and this will be a good time to practice. If that sounds fun to you, to be in a community kind of away from some of the, in a new space with less with less trolls and censors and things like that than we're finding in other places online at this time. If that sounds interesting to you, in gathering together and sharing art and creation, and allowing the kind of astrology to inspire us, the new moons to be seeds for our own creative path. And please sign up for my mailing list at geminibrett.com, and I will be sending out information about where that will be and how you can get involved and all that. But I'm really excited to see everyone's art, right? And so I just want to say this kind of first and foremost, most importantly, are there, to awaken any of the sleeping lions in you, to know that this kind of playful place, this creative place is, again, for me, I think more than a right, it's a responsibility, and that's where our freedom and our equality in this will be really most will forge in the flames of our creations. And so I hope that if you've enjoyed this at all, you will um, offer art to it, that you will allow this to be an inspiration for you, regardless of what it is that's been ready to come out of you, that this is a really wonderful month and a wonderful time to just choose to be that child divining, to create a song, to create a painting, to create anything, and to share it and to inspire others to create. All right, so speaking of, we're going to hear this beautiful song by Erik Deutsch. I'm going to put our cameras away and we can just tune in. It's a 9.5-minute song. If anything that was said about the astrology, or if you read charts, whatever you saw on that chart, some of the inspirational words of James's song that we heard before has reminded you about your magic, and inspired you to create or otherwise do this month, this would be a really wonderful time to just, either watch the images on the screen or close your eyes and see the images inside and listen to the song, and allow it to feed and fuel that fire of your creativity. It's 9.5 minutes long, and we will see you on the other side. Ah,
Wow.
yeah. Speaking of creativity, yeah, Erik is just a dear brother. We used to tour together for years, and it's been, I mean, the minute I met that man, I knew he was one of the best musicians I would ever know. But it's just been so amazing to watch and hear him grow over the years, and it's really fun for us to be kind of reunited in this collaboration again. So if you're interested in ordering your own soul song, folks, you can reach out at my websites, geminibrett.com/sessions. And you'll find Song of the Soul there. Erik's going to be back from a European tour and mid-August, and we're going to get to a list of songs we have to do. We almost have done 200 now, and it's a real tribute to the project that each of them, for me, like sound unique. If you want to tune into some more astrology right now, I thought I put a moon over my face. Maybe it needs to come in here. Oh, here we go. Anyway, I will be doing an intensive for the International Society for Astrological Research, who's ESAR. Oh, I've got to go back to that. On Saturday during the new moon, actually. So it's August 7th, 2021. You can find out more about that at their website, or you can just search ESAR, ISAR, enter the dragon. This is for astrologers. I mean, we're going to be talking about like kind of advanced techniques for analyzing eclipses, prenatal eclipses, and eclipse cycles in nativities. One of my great passions. I mean, some of the strangest astrology that is out there, and certainly the most amazing astronomy is witnessing blood moons like this, or the diamond ring of a total solar eclipse. So if you're interested in learning about some eclipse astrology, please find me there. So, and the images with this site, and I think we'll ask James to bring us out with one of his amazing gifts of many, which is to create song for the moment now, or wherever we've been. So James, if you would, I don't know if there's anything you want to say before you play and sing us a song, but please take us out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gemini. It's always illuminating to hear the signs of the times and how they're aligned to affect us and help us move towards kind of the higher beauty that we're called to be. And for these new moons, and specifically for the freestyle channeling that I practice during the new moons, I set my intention for the lunation. So I would offer to anyone listening to go ahead and take a few deep breaths. And set your intention or an intention for this lunation. And just offer that into the ether. And I will do my best to stay present and channel what comes through for all of this. Open wide, I see a sun in the sky. Spinning on an axis, using all my practices to stay stable. Mostly holding my abilities up, able to reminisce all night on wisdom that I will learn in the future light. Hey, 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 whoa. So stand as forward, looking at more than I explore what's going on. And be I sore, I still stand strong. This strength is giving me wings to soar upon. A mane to roar over waterfalls, to lean over and listen close, for spirit falls like raindrops whispering, fall is coming, fall is coming. All the strength that we have to stand up, the crab is running, and we are still fun-loving sons and daughters of the earth, momentarily here and always giving birth to something worth our dirt, every single last. Abundance through my eyes, purged honesty lies in a feather bed at night, and dreams, sweet dreams, whatever it is your heart sings, may it come true. May you use love to help you move and dancing skyward with your roots. Deep down, the strength of truth come through us all. May we heal this planet, may we turn this ball of fortune into wheels of sweet electric. Motion picture in a minute, I'll be with her, letting go just like a river. It's a flow that comes, delivering alignment through it. We'll be working, watch the summer, hey, 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 hey. Ending strong, just like all of our songs. So put it down. Respecting integrity of crown jewel, whistling like DNA spooled up, turbochargers of luck, bringing your intentions out of the muck like a motivated lotus reaching skyward, knowing hope is the only way forward. Oh, new moon in Leo, bring us this gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Lift my heart open wide, head and spine aligned. Oh me, oh my, hum.